Hey, what's up, everybody? Shane here, one half of the Plotaholics. Today, I've got a really cool interview with Pascale Potvin. She's the writer and co-director of a forthcoming indie film, Baby Fever. Let's get into it. Hey, everybody. I'm joined today by Pascale Potvin, who is one of the co-directors and writers of a forthcoming indie feature film, Baby Fever. Pascale, welcome.
Thank you so much.
You graduated with a degree in stage and screen studies from Queen's University. So obviously you've had designs on film, or at least on performance art, for a little while. Could you talk about like how you found yourself interested in that stuff originally?
I was always most interested in acting. I really wanted to act, but I was also really interested in writing. So just being interested in these two worlds brought me to screenwriting. And I never really thought I would be a director, maybe because I'm female and we just have these ideas that, women aren't directors. But I'm really happy you brought up my program because it was very all encompassing. So I got to try a lot of stuff and see what I liked. And I was a lot more interested in being behind the camera as well as being in front of the camera than I thought I would be.
What is it do you think about directing that once you dipped your toe into that water, it took you?
It's kind of like why I liked acting. And I think my experience in acting really helped me as a director because I knew how to talk to the actors and I knew what would be helpful for them. And it all comes down to character exploration. I think that is really gratifying for me, and just exploring just humanness and just loving character, I guess.
I would argue that just based on what I know about your work, you're really invested in telling stories that aren't usually told. Is that a fair way to assess your work?
Yeah, I mean, I never really directly was like, I want to be special and show things that aren't usually shown. But there's things that kind of are asked of you or kind of pull at you because you realize, like I said, you don't see a lot of female directors. You start wanting to represent, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's really cool that you're doing that work. So let's talk a little bit about Baby Fever because that's why we're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really quickly, if you don't mind, could you just give the folks at home the real sort of bare bones synopsis of this thing? What is Baby Fever all about?
Sure. I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but
Absolutely.
essentially, it's about a pregnant woman who is newly married, and she moves to a very close-knit, family-focused community, and she joins a very prestigious mothers association. And then shortly after, she suffers from an ectopic pregnancy. You can imagine how, first of all, how difficult suffering from an ectopic pregnancy is in the first place. And being kind of cornered in that situation, she becomes a victim of many things, including her own kind of psychological journey breakdown.
What is the genesis of this film? Where did this come from?
Baby Fever was my first real attempt at writing a short story a few years ago, and it was the first thing I ever published in a literary journal. And since then it kind of just kept its hook on me because I started thinking it could be really kind of enhanced and given more depth by visuals, a lot more so than anything else I've written to date. So that's how the film came about. Originally, I was just writing about this earlier. The idea just kind of came to me because I was working as a social media manager for a brand that was targeted for moms. And I was a 20-year-old and I had no idea what moms were interested in, but I was having to find content and post content for moms and pretend that I knew what I was talking about. And so it kind of made me think about how fake those kinds of cultures can be. And obviously it's become a lot more than that since then, but that was the seed. And yeah, it became a story, and then I developed the script over a couple of years, and here we are. Yeah.
the material that you sent over, you call this film a psychological thriller, and the subject matter could very well just be, it could be a drama, right? It could be a lot of different things. So why, what is it that made you take the psychological thriller route? Is there something in that genre that speaks to you, or just something in the story that you think lends itself to that genre?
Yeah, I would call it more so of a psychological horror. It's definitely the genre I am most pulled to and that I tend to write the most. Because, like I said, I really like exploring the different depths of, just what it means to be human internally. And I find horror is a really great way to do that, to stretch people to their limits, like fictional people to their limits. And in that way, readers or viewers are also kind of stretched to new emotions they didn't know they could have, and extremes. And it's cathartic in that way, both to write and to consume. It's even like, I don't know, I feel like it's emotionally healthy in like a kind of messed up way.
So you are closing this thing down. You're not quite finished yet, right? Can you talk a little bit about where you are in the process?
So right now I am working on the director's cut, but we are seeking funding for post-production and distribution to be able to hire more artistic labor for, like, the editing, the score, the sound design, and to hopefully be able to submit it to festivals. So that's what we're hoping to do with the teaser, is to get the concept out, get people to know that we shot this and we would love to finish it.
Yeah, well, it looks slick. The teaser that I saw looks really good, and I think that you guys are gonna have some luck with this new Indiegogo campaign. At least I hope so, because the story sounds great, and I would like to see the whole thing. And I think that it definitely has a life in the festival circuit for sure. And so I'm excited for you and your whole team. In some of the material that I was reading, you really wanted to put an emphasis on hiring female creatives for the crew, especially. And could you talk a little bit about those efforts and why that was really important to you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time when we think about representation in film, we're only thinking about in front of the camera because that's all we really see. But it was really important to me that, since this is like a female story and a story of a person of color, that it actually be, you know, created from relevant perspectives. And yeah, I mean, that's basically, I didn't want this to be, oh, it's a female protagonist, but a male director, or a super male crew, or a white crew, that it's just doesn't make sense.
For sure. As someone who's there working on this film, I will see the final product, right? And it'll be great. But as someone who's there, boots on the ground every day, do you find that the experience of making the film is more, do you feel like you're making more authentic art because you've bought into the representation on both sides of the camera?
Absolutely, because as much as we credit the director mainly, I mean, everyone is making this film. Like, it is not like, it's like when you write prose, you are the director, you're the cinematographer, you're the art director, the actor. But it's like, you have to split your soul when you're creating a film, and every single decision has an impact and is deliberate. And so, yeah, that was what we were thinking about when we were hiring.
That's cool. You are the co-director on this film, and I am curious about what that level of collaboration is like, because, as you and I both work in prose as well, which is a very solitary endeavor, right? But
Mm-hmm.
here, and this is you wrote the screenplay for this, right? You adapted it from your short story, and now you have brought in this other person to help you direct. What is that collaboration like?
I mean, I can't speak for all collaboration, because I do feel that I was very, very fortunate to work with Nupur. Just in my experience, she was so dedicated and completely understood the story, completely understood the vision, was really, really passionate about it. And, it was a collaboration the whole way through. And she really brought out so much from the story. And I kept thinking, like, if I die somehow in some tragic accident before we start shooting, the film would be in good hands with just her. That being said, it was really, really great to have her on set because she has more experience directing and talking to crew and stuff, whereas I was more comfortable talking to actors. So, especially shooting a feature film in 7 days, which is a challenge, it was great to be able to split up and focus our energies and be efficient with our time in doing that. And that worked really well.
As we mentioned earlier, the Indiegogo campaign is live right now. You can find all that information down below. Make sure that you go and contribute to Baby Fever. Pascale, what are you working on now? Like, what is? I know that you're working on finishing this project, but I know I see the tweets. I know that you're always doing something. You're doing a million things. You're doing it all. So what is the next project for Pascale?
I think that if you're interested in Baby Fever, I would encourage you to pressure publishers to publish my short story collection, which which includes the original story for Baby Fever and a lot of other similarly horrible, horrifying stories that, you know, there's a lot of material there too for potential adaptation. You don't know.
Can you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find out more information about Baby Fever?
You can find me at pascalepotvin.com. Baby Fever also has a website. It's probably easier to just Google Baby Fever the film. It'll come up. You can find me on Twitter and, you know, find my literary magazine, Wrongdoing, and especially the Indiegogo, and watch the teaser because that'll be linked on the Indiegogo and it'll also be on YouTube on the Pencer Films YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And we will link all of that stuff down below. So make sure that you check it all out. And Pascale, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit, and good luck with Baby Fever.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me. This is really fun.